The trial begins. The arena was silent. Not the kind of silence that came from peace, but the heavy, choking silence that came before a kill. A young human stood alone in the center. She wore no armor. No weapon hung from her belt, just the standard black cadet uniform, thin, plain, and offering no real protection. Her name was Aria Vance, top cadet from Earth's interstellar defense program. She was only 19, barely finished with her second-year exams. She had never killed anyone. She had never been to war. Now she was facing three of the most dangerous beings in the galaxy. Across from her, behind the energy gate, the killers waited. They were not soldiers or assassins. One was a Varkari brute, 2 meters tall, bred for bone-crushing strength. The second was a Rethon Shadow Walker, fast and nearly invisible in motion. The last was a Xyrix Blade Dancer, a master of fluid, razor-fast strikes. All three had killed before. All three were enhanced biologically and cybernetically. And all three had one goal: kill the human cadet. The gate between them dropped with a sharp hiss. The bell rang. The crowd and the upper balcony's alien leaders. The council members, military observers leaned forward. They didn't expect a fight. This wasn't supposed to be a battle. It was a trialist symbolic test between species, showing cooperation and strength under pressure. Earth had been invited to participate for the first time in history. The Galactic Council said the rules were simple. Each species would send one representative to face 3 elite sparring partners. It was meant to be theater, show. But someone had changed the rules behind the scenes. Earth sent a cadet, the Council sent killers. The Varkari moved first, charging like a charging wall of muscle. His footfalls made the ground tremble. The crowd leaned closer. Then they saw something they didn't expect. Aria didn't move. She just watched. The Varkari reached her in 2 seconds. Raised his hammer-like fist and struck, but Aria was already gone. She had slipped to the left, fast as a blink. The crowd gasped. The Varkari turned, confused. And then Aria struck. One strike open, palm straight to his throat. The Varkari stumbled. Aria grabbed his arm, twisted, and flipped the massive creature over her shoulder. The arena trembled again, but this time from his landing. The other 2 assassins hesitated. That was a mistake. Aria turned and sprinted toward the Rethon Shadow Walker. He faded from sight. Cloaking himself. But Aria didn't stop. She closed her eyes. She listened. A breath, a shift of air behind her. She dropped to one knee, turned, and drove her elbow into thin air. The Rethon shimmered back into view, collapsing with a choking sound. He was out cold. The Xyrix Blade Dancer hissed and lunged. His arms spun, twin energy daggers flashing like blue fire. Aria rolled under the first swipe and leaped into the air. He slashed upward, but she twisted midair, grabbing his wrist and sent him flying with a precise kick to the side of his head. The Xyrix landed hard, stunned. His daggers clattered away. Aria landed in a crouch. The crowd went silent again. This time, not from anticipation, but from shock. 3 assassins, 1 human cadet, less than a minute. The fight was over. High above. In the observation chamber, the alien leaders stood frozen. One of them, the Xyrix ambassador, spoke first. His voice trembled. That wasn't a trial. The Varka general clenched his jaw. That was an execution. She didn't just win, another whispered. She outmatched them all. Who trained her? No one answered. But deep in the far end of the room, an old Zarth diplomat leaned forward. He narrowed his glowing eyes. Then he whispered, just loud enough for his companions to hear. That was human? 2 days earlier, Cadet Aria Vance had been studying for her close combat final exam on Earth's moon base. Alpha. She never expected to be called in front of the council officers in person. She stood straight in the room, heart racing. When Commander Sato told her the news, "You've been selected," he said. "For what, sir?" "The trial," Sato replied. "The Galactic Council wants Earth's participation. We're sending our best cadet." "I haven't finished training. You're still the best." She saluted. "Yes, sir." Sato gave her a strange look, one mixed with worry and pride. "You'll be fine," he said. "Just remember your training." But even he didn't know what she was about to walk into. Present-time arena recovery. Rumeria sat on a cold bench, breathing slowly. She stared at her hands. No blood, no injuries, not even a scratch. Her body still buzzed with adrenaline. Door opened. Commander Sato entered. His face was unreadable. There, trying to contain the broadcast, he said. What broadcast? Footage of the fight, he said. It's spreading. The council wanted a test. They got a message. I didn't kill them. You could have. I didn't need to. Sato looked at her, then spoke softly. Do you know what you just did? I survived. No, he said. You made the galaxy afraid of us. Elsewhere, Shadow Council Chamber A, dark room. Deep in the inner moons of the TSR system, the 3 alien assassins sat in silence, their wounds being treated. A hologram flickered to life in the center of the chamber. A masked alien figure. Appeared one of the true puppet masters behind the council. She was supposed to be an untrained human, the figure growled. She wasn't, replied the Rathene, clutching his side. What is Earth hiding? No one answered. The figure continued, she cannot live. Send others. More skilled. More deadly. A new set of files appeared, data on Aria Vance, then the words, terminate immediately. Back on Earth, Moonbase Alpharia was walking through the training hall alone when she heard whispers. Other cadets stared at her. Some nodded. Some looked away in fear. Her name was on every news channel, her face on every screen. Humanity had just sent a message to the galaxy. We are not weak. We are not slow. We are not afraid, in a dark council chamber, somewhere far across. The stars. Another hologram played the footage. The moment Aria dropped the final assassin, silence followed. A clawed hand tapped the armrest of a throne. Then a voice, deep and guttural. She's only the beginning. Deep in the war halls of the Galactic Core, the footage of Aria Vance played again. 3 alien assassins. 1 human cadet, fight over in less than a minute. Every blow, every movement, analyzed frame by frame. She moved faster than our combat. AI could track, said the Xyrix tactician. Zooming in on her final takedown, she was reading them like a book, growled a Varkari commander. This wasn't just instinct. This was ... programmed. A long silence filled the room. Then the Grand Arbiter of the Council leaned forward. She made us look weak. Across the table, someone whispered the words that sealed her fate. Eliminate. The human. Earth's Moonbase Aria Vance stood in the firing range, her arms aching, sweat running down her back. She had been training non-stop since returning from the combat trial. Not because anyone told her to, but because she knew what came next. They would come for her. Behind her, Commander Sato stepped into the room. He didn't speak until she stopped. You're pushing too hard. I need to be ready, she said. You already were. No, Aria said quietly. That was just the first test. Sato frowned. We intercepted a transmission from the council. They're not happy you survived. I could tell, Aria muttered. He tossed her a data chip. Take a look. Aria's private quarters lights dimmed. Aria inserted the chip. A projection flickered to life. Surveillance footage heavily encrypted. A council war chamber. Alien leaders arguing. Her name in bold red letters. Then came the final screen in. Official bounty. Sealed by the council. Target. Aria Vance status. Human threat level. Unknown condition. Terminate on site. Reward. 80 million galactic credits. Her heart thumped once. Hard. They're scared, she said aloud. But then she noticed something else. Another set of files buried beneath the bounty. Genesis Protocol, Phase 5, she tapped it. But the file wouldn't open. Locked. Earth-level clearance only. High. Orbit, planet Dristaning. The darkness of space. 3 ships drifted silently above the barren world of Drystum. Inside, elite hunters, prepared. Mercenaries, killers, former soldiers turned assassins. Their mission, track. Capture or eliminate Aria Vance. One of them, a Calvith war priest. sharpened his blade with a clawed hand. She won't be hard to find, he rasped. She stands in front of cameras. Another, a synthetic named X9, tilted his head. Underestimate her. They all did. They received their final orders. Deploy in 36 hours. Infiltrate Earth's defenses. Leave no trace. Aria and Sato, the truth area, sat across from Sato in the observation dome. Who authorized Genesis? She asked. Sato hesitated. No one, not officially. You knew I suspected. After your results started breaking the models. She looked out the glass at Earth, glowing blue beneath the stars. I feel like I'm wearing a mask, she whispered. Like I'm not me anymore. You're still you, he said. Just upgraded. She turned to him. They're not. Afraid of me because I won. They're afraid of what I'll become. Galactic Council internal chamber, the Grand Arbiter of the Council, stood before a wall of light siege, representing a different allied species. This human, he said, has shown the kind of force we have not seen from Earth before. The lights flickered as responses poured in. Some voiced concern. Others demanded her removal. One simply said, "Send the enforcers." The Arbiter nodded. I want her name erased from all systems, he said coldly. No planet, no fleet. No alliance. If Earth protects her, then Earth is alone. Nightfall Earth's training compound started with a flicker dot, lights dimmed, then died. Cameras blacked out. Sensors stopped reading. The security system went blind. Then came the sound. Soft footsteps across metal floors. Aria still awake. In her quarters looked up sharply. Silence. She reached under her bunk and pulled out a combat blade. Her eyes scanned the room. The air felt heavier. She moved to the hallway, where emergency lights flickered red. No guards, no voices, only shadows. Then she saw the first one. A humanoid, tall, covered in adaptive armor, stepping out of the wall. Aria moved instantly silent, swift. She struck before he could raise his weapon. His body hit the floor, and the compound exploded into chaos. The compound, assault it, was a hit. Team 6 aliens in total. No uniforms. No flags. Aria moved through the corridors like a ghost, using every inch of her training. She used the shadows. She used their fear, one by one. She dropped them then. The last one, a smaller figure, tried to escape. She cornered him. Who sent you? She demanded. He grinned, bloody. They're all watching. You think you're the only one? Aria narrowed her eyes. Tell me. His voice cracked, barely above a whisper. They're not afraid of you. They're afraid of what you are becoming. Then he died. Commander Sato arrived too late. The compound was in ruins. But Aria stood in the center, bruised but alive. She handed him a datapad. What's this? He asked. She looked at him, cold, determined. A back door into the Genesis files. Sato's eyes widened. How did you get this? They brought it to me. As the fires burned behind her, she walked away, far away, on a secret council outpost. An AI terminal blinked to life. File recovered. Genesis Protocol Phase 5 status. Active subject. Aria Vance status. Escalating. A message autoplayed from a hidden council member. Terminator now. Or what comes next won't just threaten us. It will replace us. The midnight strike it was to 14 hours. Moonbase Alpha went dark. No alarms, no sirens, just a quiet, creeping silence, sending the unmistakable hum of systems shutting down one by one. Cadet Aria Vance snapped awake, heart racing. This wasn't a drill. Something was coming. She reached beneath her bunk, slid out a matte black blade, and crouched by the door. The emergency lights hadn't even kicked in yet. Then she heard footsteps. Not heavy. Not rushed, controlled, predatory. 6 of them, maybe 7. They had come for her command. Center offline Commander Sato stared at the monitors as they went black. One by one. We just lost primary power, the technician shouted. Back up. Grid's not responding. Someone's inside, Sato growled. Where's Aria? No answer. Sato reached for his earpiece. Activate emergency lockdown protocol, now. But he already knew. It was too late. Hallways, Moonbase Alpharia moved. Through the corridor like a shadow, the red emergency lights flickered faintly, throwing everything into a warping, pulsing glow. She pressed her back to the wall. Ahead, she saw them. 7 figures, humanoid but not quite. They were covered in smooth armor with cloaking panels stitched into their suits. Their eyes glowed faint green. No insignias, no names, not soldiers, hunters. They carried weapons Earth hadn't seen before, bladed rifles. Neural disruptors, something like liquid darts attached to their wrists. They didn't speak. They simply moved as one. Hunting flashback one day. Earlier, Commander Sato had warned her. They'll send killers, he said. Not armies, not drones. Real ones. The kind that don't exist on paper. And when they do, Aria asked, you run. You hide. Aria shook her head. I don't run. Sato looked at her for a long moment. I know, he said. What I'm afraid of. Present tactical combats. The first hunter reached the intersection. Aria didn't wait. She dropped low, swept his legs from behind, then rammed her elbow into his temple as he fell. His body slammed into the floor with a metallic thud. The other 6 froze for a second, just long enough. Aria grabbed his disruptor, spun, and fired. One shot grazed the second assassin. He staggered, then collapsed, twitching. The third charged. Claws out, but Aria ducked under his strike, jammed her blade upward under his arm, flipped him over her back. She moved like she'd been doing this her whole life, but this was her. First real kill, and she didn't blink. Security chamber, minus 15 minutes later. Surviving base guard found Commander Sato in the emergency sub-control room. We've got movement in Sector 7, the guard said. Single heat signature. Human. Yes, sir. Sato nodded grimly. That's Aria. Keep all teams out of her path. She's alone. Sato glanced at the sealed doors. No, he said quietly. They are. Back in the halls. Final Keeleria crouched over the last hunter. He was breathing hard, blood leaking from a wound in his chest. She held his own weapon to his face. Who sent you? He hissed something in a language she didn't know. She slammed the rifle into the wall next to his head. Say it again. He coughed. Your death would have kept the peace. Aria blinked. What? You were. The test, he groaned. You passed. That scared them. Who? The ones who run everything. She tightened her grip. What are they afraid of? Gave a crooked smile. That you're not the final version. Then he pulled a pin from his own belt. Aria's eyes went wide. She dove backward, just as the mini detonation swallowed the corridor in fire. Medical hours later, Aria sat on a metal bed, wrapped in a heat blanket. Her arm was burned. Her face was smudged with ash. Sato stood across from her. They were sent by someone high, he said. We're still digging. They knew about Genesis, she said. They knew what I am. Which means we have a leak, Sato replied. Possibly in the Council. Possibly on Earth. Aria didn't speak for a long moment. Finally, she said, I want access to what? The files. Genesis. Everything. It's classified. Sato said, I don't care. She looked him dead in the eye. They're afraid of me. I need to know why. Interrogation review, Room Earth Intelligence. Reviewed the audio logs from Aria's last encounter. They slowed down one section of the hunter's speech. Distorted, it's nearly inaudible. But then it became clear. Terminate before Genesis activates. Phase 5. The room went silent. What is Phase 5? The technician asked. Sato turned away because he already knew, and no one was supposed to. Council transmission, Deep Space Say private transmission beamed from a hidden outpost. A single message was sent in encrypted galactic protocol code. Phase 5 is awake. The prototype survived. If we don't act now, we won't be the top species anymore. We'll be obsolete. In a hidden chamber beneath Moonbase Alpha, Aria stood alone. She had found it. A sealed vault, labeled Genesis Stage 5. She placed her palm against the lock. It hissed open. Inside were old documents, flickering screens and DNA samples in glowing tubes. But there was something else. A name burned into the metal wall. Project Aria Vance status. Live modification. Level. Phase 4.75 next activation. Unknown. She stepped back, heart pounding. She wasn't finished. She wasn't complete. She had been created for something more. And that something was about to wake up. The truth behind Genesis. The door hissed open with a click that echoed like a gunshot inside the sealed vault. Aria Vance stepped into the cold, blue-lit chamber. Monitors flickered to life. DNA samples glowed softly in glass tubes. Thick layer of dust coated the consoles. No one had been here in years. But her name, Aria Vance, was etched into metal on the far wall. Burned into it. She walked toward it slowly. Below her name were 2 words. Phase 4.75 INCOMPLET. Aria stared in silence. She wasn't just trained. She wasn't just skilled. She was engineered. Inside the vault, Earth-Moon base Aria moved through the chamber, touching nothing. Every display lit up as she passed, as if it knew her. The air smelled like cold metal and sterilized chemicals. She reached the main console and tapped the interface. The screen flickered and displayed a log. Project Genesis subject file. 17V subject name, Aria Vance status, live phase, 4.75 next activation. Locked unlock. Code. Unknown notes. Rapid adaptive combat response beyond simulation threshold. Neural sync efficiency exceeds expectations. Recommend containment or initiation of Phase 5 under emergency protocol only. Aria's breath caught. Her whole life was in a lab file. She wasn't a cadet by chance. She was designed to fight. Childhood memory, not what it seemed. She remembered her first training session at age 5. They called it a game. But she now realized the drills were measuring her reflexes, stress tolerance, and neurofeedback under pressure. Her first school exam. It wasn't math. It was an AI test, treating emotions under fire. The headaches she got at 12. She thought they were growing pains. They were her neural enhancements stabilizing. Everything had been a test, and she had passed every one, Commander. Sato's office. You lied to me, Aria said, placing the data crystal on Sato's desk. He looked tired, older. Guilty I didn't know everything, he said. Only that you were different. Different, she snapped. I'm a weapon. You're human, Aria. You always were. No, she said. I was made to be better than human. She turned toward the door. You don't get to tell me who I am anymore. Deep Space Galactic Council War-Mth Grand Arbiter stood before a hollow projection of Earth. All members voted, he said. Earth will be sanctioned. All technology transfers halted. Border surveillance activated. One council member, a frail but ancient-looking Slinery, spoke up. She's just one human. No, the Arbiter growled. She's the next step. If Phase 5 activates, we may not be able to stop her. Then why did you send assassins instead of a fleet? The Arbiter turned slowly. Because if we kill her now, the humans might still fear us. But if we fail again, the galaxy will. Stop fearing them. Secret underground lab. Eartharia found another sealed chamber deeper in the base. Inside, a cryovault labeled Genesis candidates terminated. She stared at the pods, 9 of them. Frozen, dark. Each one had a name. Some had ages listed. None survived Phase 3. She found one pod with a flickering light. Subject 014Z. Terminated at Phase 4.2, cause of death, neural overload. She was the only one who had reached. 475. She was the only one who hadn't broken. Earth's military briefing commander. Sato addressed the Earth Defense Council. She's alive. She's stable. But she's no longer under our control. We created a super weapon, one general said. Now it has a mind of its own. She's still human, Sato said. Is she? They all stared at the screen footage of Aria taking down 7 elite assassins alone. one councilwoman whispered. She doesn't look human anymore. The breaking point, Taria sat in the observation dome of the base. Alone, stars glittered beyond the glass. She spoke softly into the air. I didn't ask for this. No one answered then. Without warning, a system prompt flashed in her vision. Not on a screen, but inside her eyes. HFY activation. Incoming signal detected override. Command required a CCEPT-DNY. Her hands trembled. It wasn't her body. Being controlled, it was her mind. She tried to select deny, but her muscles locked up. A voice echoed deep in her mind. You were made for this. Let go. Galactic transmission intercepted. Earth Command intercepted a secret message from a rogue council faction. Phase 5 must be initiated. We've pushed her too far. She either evolved or detonate. Containment is no longer viable. Prepare planetary level failsafe. Commander Sato read the transmission and whispered, They're planning to destroy Earth. Aria stood in the center of the lab. Her body trembled. Her vision blurred. Something inside her brain was changing, firing. Faster than any scan could follow, she saw everything. The future. The Council's warships, her own death, and something worse than death. Adrenaline lock engaged. Reflex limiters removed. Memory barriers lifted. She screamed. Then everything went white. When her eyes opened, the glass walls were shattered. The steel around her had melted. She stood talcum, steady, glowing faintly from beneath her skin. Commander? Sato arrived too late. He saw what stood in the wreckage and whispered, She's not a cadet anymore. No more negotiations. The message came without warning. Its hologram blinked to life in Earth's United Command Hall. An alien figure appeared, wrapped in flowing battle robes with burning gold eyes. Behind him, the Galactic Council's war. Fleet hovered silently in space, just outside Earth's solar boundary. You have 48 hours, the alien envoy said coldly. Surrender the one called Aria Vance, or we begin orbital bombardment. The room went still. Earth's most powerful leaders stared at the projection, and somewhere deep beneath Moonbase Alpha, Aria Vance was already preparing for war. Earth. United Command Council. Decision Earths. Leaders gathered in a sealed chamber. The Council's demand was clear. Hand over Aria or face galactic war. Some wanted to surrender her. She's just one cadet, a general argued. You can't risk billions for one life. She's not just a cadet, Sato said. She's the reason they're scared of us, exactly. And fear brings destruction. Sato stood. She's not the threat here. They are. They tried to kill her twice. They experimented on her, then demanded her execution when she survived. Silence followed. The president of Earth stood slowly. We don't give up our own, she said. And the vote passed. Earth would protect Aria. Moonbase Alpha, Aria's transformation. Aria stood in a reinforced chamber, her skin glowing faintly beneath. A custom adaptive suit. Phase 5 had activated fully. She no longer felt fear or hesitation, but she still felt something else. Responsibility. She had the power to destroy. She wanted to protect. Sato watched her from behind bulletproof glass. Your heart rate hasn't changed in 12 hours, he said. I don't sleep anymore, she replied. Do you feel anything? Aria looked at him. Yes, I feel ready. Council Warfleet. Inbound the alien fleet passed. Neptune. They weren't bluffing. Thousands of ships, planet crackers, boarding carriers, cloaked infiltrators. The alien commander, High Marshal Tervel, gave the order, set coordinates for lunar insertion. Earth will burn if they resist. His second-in-command frowned. Should we send another warning? No, Tervel said. Civilian panic? Earth reacts. Earth's public finally learned the truth. Broadcasts filled every screen. Aria Vance. Genetically enhanced soldier. Target of alien demand. Protests erupted. Panic spread, but also something else, hope. Footage of Aria's battle in the arena played on repeat. The trial, the midnight attack. Her survival, she became a symbol. Not of fear, but of resistance. People began saying one phrase, if she can fight. Secret plan Aria's proposal. Aria met privately with Earth's strategic command. The fleet is too big, one admiral said. Even with you, we can't stop it in open war. I'm not asking for open war, Aria replied. Asking for a small ship and a clean jump route. Why? I'm going to the fleet. You're surrendering? No, she said. I'm ending this before it begins. Alien Council, internal crisis in a council chamber far from the battlefield. Not all members agreed with the invasion. She's one girl, said the Lauren ambassador. We've gone too far. The Grand Arbiter slammed his staff. She's evidence. Proof that humans are evolving faster than we expected. If we don't act now, we will lose our place at the top. But if we fail again, there will be no failure. The fleet is en route. Earth will break. She will be buried under it. Sato and Aria, final words. Sato stood beside the stealth dropship as Aria suited up. You don't have to do this alone, he said. I do. Then why are you smiling? She tightened her gloves. Because they think I'm flying there to surrender, and you're not. No, she said. I'm flying there to make the whole galaxy listen. In the darkness of deep space, Aria's ship approached the alien fleet. She sent a single, open-frequency transmission. One sentence. You fear what I am, but I haven't even shown you what I can do. Inside the alien command ship, alarms blared. Tervel stared at the screen. Signal that ship. Now. But Aria's ship didn't slow. It vanished from radar. Moments later, silent detonation spread through the lower ranks of the fleet. Non-lethal, but blinding. It was a message. Corning dot, in just the beginning. One against a fleet, the alien fleet, loomed like a wall of death outside Earth's solar system. Thousands of warships, countless weapons, and at the very center, one towering dreadnought. The heart of the invasion. Its command deck buzzed with energy as officers tracked a single anomaly. A human ship stealthed. Fast and untraceable was inside their perimeter. They couldn't find it. They couldn't stop it. And inside that ship, Aria Vance was suiting up. She had one objective. Get aboard the command ship. Reach the High Marshal.
Right.
End the war. She wasn't going to plead. She was going to end them. Inside Aria's ship, infiltration begins. Aria floated. Silently as her stealth pod latched onto the underside of the dreadnought's hull. No. Alarms triggered. Her enhanced fingers slid along the hatch lock, bypassing alien encryption in seconds. She slipped inside. No one saw her. She was a ghost. Alien. Command deck paranoia rising. High Marshal Tervel stared at the wall of holographic maps. She's aboard, second in command whispered. But we can't find her. Lock down all decks, Tervel snarled. Shut the AI cores. Cut life support to lower hulls. She's only one human, another officer said. No, Tervel growled. She's the end of us if we let her move freely. Aria, ghost in the machineria, slid through ventilation shafts. Maintenance tunnels. Blind spots, every weak point mapped by stolen council blueprints. She planted data virus pods as she moved, each one cutting off sections of the ship's security grid. By the time the crew realized it, half the dreadnought had gone dark. She wasn't just sabotaging systems. She was taking the ship piece by piece. Aria's final simulation during training. Sato had once asked her, "What do you do when outnumbered 10,000 to 1?" Aria had answered with one word: cut the head. Now that strategy was real, and she was getting closer to the head of the beast. Alien soldiers encounter her too late. A patrol unit finally caught her in the lower command corridor. 6 guards. Plasma rifles. Heavy armor. They surrounded her. She didn't speak. She moved. One guard raised his weapon. Aria disarmed him and broke his jaw in one motion. The next fired. She ducked under the shot, flipped him over, and used his unconscious body as a shield. Within 30 seconds, the entire squad was down, and the ship was silent again. Council panic. Galaxy watching news spread fast. Earth's open frequency broadcast carried only one line of data. One human, on board, dreadnought infiltration confirmed. Across the galaxy, entire species watched in disbelief. Was this human? A myth? A bluff? Or was Earth's cadet now capable of bringing down a galactic flagship? One rebel faction leader whispered, "If she succeeds, Earth becomes legend." Aria reaches the Cararia, breached the inner sanctum of the ship. Before her stood the final door thick, sealed. Pulsing with power behind it, Turvil. In his top command? She placed her hand on the door's interface. It scanned her. DNA, the door clicked. They had made a mistake. They had coded their doors to recognize elite combatants, and Aria was more elite than anything they'd ever built. The door hissed open. Turvil stood on the command bridge, surrounded by soldiers, alarms flashing behind him. "You came here to die?" he growled. "No," Aria said. "I came to make sure you understand what you're dealing with." Turvil raised his hand. "Killer!" Soldiers opened fire. Aria moved like lightning. Bullets missed. Bodies dropped. Weapons jammed. She didn't just fight, she dismantled them. In under a minute, every soldier was unconscious or worse. Only Turvil remained staring at her in disbelief. "What are you?" he whispered. Aria stepped forward. "I'm what happens when you push a species too far." Galaxy-wide broadcast using the Dreadnought's communication core? Aria uploaded everything. The Council's secret assassination order. The Genesis files, the footage of her trial. The sanctioned kill order on a 19-year-old cadet. She sent it to every neutral world. Every outer colony, every system on the edge. The Council's lies were over. The truth was now public, and the galaxy would never see. Earth the same again. The dreadnought floated in silence. Aria stood alone, breathing calmly, eyes glowing faintly. In the flickering light behind her, the ship's auto-destruct sequence hummed. She walked to an escape pod, sealed the door, and looked back one last time. "This was your warning," she said into the recorder. Then she launched, moments later. The command ship exploded in a controlled chain reaction. No Earth lives lost. No warning shots needed. Just one cadet, who had now become the galaxy's most feared symbol. One final move, the escape pod rocketed through space, silent and cold. Inside, Aria Vance sat, strapped and eyes closed, heart steady. Behind her, the dreadnought was gone, exploded, erased. But something was wrong. Red lights flickered inside the pod suddenly. Her course shifted. She looked at the screen. External override. And before she could react, the pod stopped. A massive alien hangar swallowed it whole. They had her again. But this time, Aria wasn't the one trapped. Pod doors open. Ambush, the escape pod hissed open. Dozens of armed guards waited. Outside, plasma rifles pointed, shields up. Aria calmly stepped out, hands raised. She scanned the room. Different armor. Different symbols. This wasn't the Council's main fleet. It was something worse. It's the Black Helix, a shadow faction, ultra-secret. Beyond the Council, they had been watching. Earth from the beginning, now they had Aria in their grasp. The Helix leader. A parasol figure walked forward, silver eyes, voice like broken glass. "Welcome, Cadet Vance," he said. "You've caused quite the mess." "Let me go," she replied. He smiled. "You just destroyed a dreadnought. Killed a high marshal. Leaked classified files across the galaxy." "You did worse," she said coldly. He laughed. "You think this is over? That was just the surface?" He tapped a device on his wrist. A projection lit up. Earth. And a countdown. "In 24 hours, your home burns, unless you cooperate." Locked. In the Black Helix prison area was thrown into a high-security cell gravity field. Neurosuppressants, walls thicker than a tank. They thought it would hold her, but they didn't understand what she had become. In the dark, Aria sat cross-legged and focused. She slowed her heartbeat, cooled her breath, let her genetic upgrades recalibrate. The suppressants couldn't stop what was already built into her bones. Helix strategy room underestimation. The Helix leaders debated. Should we extract her DNA, dissect her mind, or wipe it, and make her one of us? The Helix leader, known only as the Architect, answered, "She's not a weapon. She's a message. We turn her, or we end her." But he was already too late. Aria escapes a hidden muscle twitch, a pressure shift, The forced pulse of her blood. Aimed directly at the field generator's weak spot, boom, the field collapsed. Aria was free, and she wasn't alone. From nearby cells, others stared in awe. Experiments, prisoners, lost fighters. Who are you?
Us.
She turned to them, eyes glowing faintly. Someone they should have never created. Brachotaria moved through the helix. Base like a shadow. Every guard that came at her dropped in seconds. The prisoners followed behind, gathering weapons, breaking through checkpoints. This wasn't just an escape anymore, it was a revolt. Final confrontation, Aria versus the Architect in the command dome. Aria faced the Architect. He held the Earth Destroyer trigger. "You can't win," he hissed. "You've already lost," she said. They clashed. He was fast enhanced, trained in helix, martial combat. But Aria wasn't just trained, she was evolved. A brutal, silent fight. In the end, she pinned him with his own device. "Any last words?" he gasped. "Bleeding, you're not human anymore." She leaned closer. "I'm the next step." She crushed the device. The countdown ended. Earth was safe. The helix base went into meltdown. Sirens screamed, Aria led the escape through emergency tunnels. As the last pod launched, the base exploded behind them. Inside the pod, one prisoner looked at her. "What do we do now?" She looked. Out the window, the stars stretched wide ahead. "We go home. But first, we tell the galaxy what really happened here." Camera zooms out behind them. Dozens of helix ships explode in chain reactions. Aria had rigged the entire base. This wasn't just a win, it was a warning. The legend awakens across every star system. The story spread like wildfire. A single human cadet destroyed a council. Dreadnought exposed a secret war, crushed the Black Helix, and walked away alive now. Aria Vance wasn't just a name, she was a symbol. To rebels, she was hope. To rulers, she was a threat. And to the Galactic Council, she was a target, the bounty on her head. 9 billion credits, every hunter, assassin, mercenary, and drone in the galaxy was coming. But none of them understood one simple truth. You don't chase the storm finds you. Hidden Moonbase. Earth's last stronghold, Aria stood before a council of Earth's top command. They looked nervous. "They'll come for us now. We've kicked a hornet's nest." Aria didn't blink. "Then let them come." General Sato stood behind her, arms crossed. "We either hide," he said, "or we show them what humans are really capable of." Aria stepped forward. "No, more hiding." Across the galaxy, the hunt begins. Arinary planets, Aria's face lit up. Giant bounty boards. Target, Aria Vance. Status, kill or capture. Reward, 9 billion. Credits, alien warlords sharpened blades. Elite hunters prepped warp ships. One even whispered, "She's just a cadet."
How hard can it be?
Another replied, "She's the reason the dreadnought vanished." They didn't care. They smelled blood and credits, but they were walking into a trap. Aria prepares Earth's defense. Aria helped design new planetary shields, combat drones, orbital mines. But more than that, she trained people. Not soldiers, resistance fighters. Young, old civilian, alien allies. She taught them how to move. How to strike, how to win. You don't need enhancements, she told them. You need purpose. The first wave hits Earth. Dozens of bounty ships dropped from warp near Earth's atmosphere. They didn't even announce themselves. They just attacked lasers. Tore through clouds. Shuttles landed with soldiers and Black Dot, and then they vanished. Aria's traps worked perfectly. EMP fields, folded space trip wires, traps built from scrap. One mercenary tried to retreat. He didn't even make it back to orbit. Council in chaos. Galactic Council met in emergency session. "We underestimated her again," one barked. "She's rallying systems to her side. She's turning colonies." A new fear took root in the chamber. She's not just fighting, uniting. They stared at one another in silence. Earth was no longer just a rogue system. It was becoming a movement. Final assault, a super weapon unleashed, the Council launched. The Judgment Korra weapon that could wipe a planet in a single pulse. It moved toward Earth like a silent moon, escorted by an entire armada. Sato looked to Arya. "This is it." Arya nodded. "We take the fight to them one last time." The final battle, Arya boarded a stealth warcruiser built in secret, as fast as light, as quiet as shadow. She led a squad of elite fighters, humans, and allies she had trained. They launched toward the core weapon. Meanwhile, Earth's defense grid held off the armada barely. As the war waged in orbit, Arya infiltrated the core itself. She found the control center, planted neural disruptors, hacked alien protocols, and in the final moment, she spoke to the entire galaxy. "You want to erase Earth? You want to erase truth? Then I'll show you what one voice, one human can do." She triggered the core's failsafe. The weapon turned inward. It exploded, taking half the fleet with it. Aftermath: the rise of Earth. The galaxy changed overnight. The Council fractured. Some members surrendered, others fled. All of them knew they had lost the narrative. The systems once ruled by fear were now rallying around Earth. Arya didn't ask to lead, but no one else could. The cadet who became a legendaria stood alone on a high ridge, overlooking a rebuilt base on Mars. Children trained below, flags waved from dozens of worlds. She looked up at the stars. She wasn't afraid anymore. She was no longer just a cadet, no longer just enhanced, no longer hunted. She was the storm, and the galaxy would never forget her name. Series. Endnote. This marks the end of Aria Vance's origin arc, but the beginning of something greater: humanity. Rising, allies, awakening. A galaxy on the edge of something new. And it all started with one cadet who was never supposed to survive.